Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel again today. Now, I thought I'd do a video about Tommy Robinson. Now, Tommy Robinson is somebody I don't normally speak about because I've spoken to people about him in the past and I've had big arguments, to be honest, because Tommy Robinson is a big talking point. He has a lot of followers, probably millions of followers, to be honest. And obviously where I used to work in a newspaper, and to be honest, it was more of a left-leaning newspaper, and I used to work on the radio as well. And I had a lot of people who had different political views to me. So obviously when I was at the not radio station, newspaper, they were all Labour guys. You know, they were right to the left, and their views were completely different to mine. You know, I'm not far right or anything like that. And that's going back best part of 8 years. And we used to speak about it on quite a few occasions. And I remember talking to one guy and his partner around Christmas time, and I basically said it because he spoke to me because he was a big fan of Tommy Robinson and everything, and I basically said, Tommy Robinson is an absolute fucking moron. And looking back on it, I was categorically wrong for saying it. I was categorically wrong. And over the last few years, I've educated myself a lot more about it. I've watched interviews he's done. I've watched the extremely good Oxford Union address that he's done. You know, I've seen the interview he did with Jordan Peterson over in Canada. And he held himself really well. And one thing I can say about Tommy Robinson is one of the downfalls he has, and this isn't entirely a bad thing, is he has a lot of passion, but with that passion it can sometimes come over in the wrong way to certain people. Now, is Tommy Robinson racist? I don't think he's racist. I think the problem Tommy Robinson's got, because of what's gone in the UK in the last, I'd say, 20 years, and bad integration, which politicians are accountable for, because they've done nothing about it to integrate people coming into this country. It's caused a vacuum and caused problems in communities up and down this country. And that's not just to do with where Tommy Robinson's come from. And I've never spoken to Tommy Robinson. I've never met Tommy Robinson. All I can go by is what I've actually seen. Okay, but obviously if Tommy, when he comes out of jail, he wants to speak to me, you know, and he wants to have a go at me about anything that I'm saying at the moment, he's more than welcome to. He can contact me anytime. You know, so because of his background, I think it's no surprise that he went kind of in the direction he did. I think in the early days, because of the media we have in this country, and because of the political elite, they wanted to take him down so he wasn't bringing it to a light. A bit like that they tried to, like they did with the BNP, who were right-wing. I'm not saying Tommy Robinson is right-wing. And that they tried to do with Nigel Farage and UKIP, which they did quite well, but they certainly did when it came to the BNP. And they tried to do it in the same way, which arguably was a mistake. Now, Tommy Robinson's turned into something else because he's educated himself and he's fought back against the establishment. He turned himself into a journalist from somebody, I think he worked in the building trade or something. I know he owned houses and everything. And let's not forget, Tommy Robinson has lost everything because of the person he's turned into. You know, he may have notoriety because everybody knows who he is. But from a family point of view, he has lost everything. So, in some ways, I feel sorry for the guy. Will he be able to look back on his time that he's succeeded? Probably. If you take, for instance, the abuse of children that have gone on around the country, he's done a good job there. The case that happened up it was it in the northeast of the Simon kid who got arrested. I mean, not got arrested, got started making accusations of abuse at a school and everything that went down with that. I've not read the entire case, so I don't know absolutely everything. He did a good job with it, but he's ended up going to jail. I believe he lost his wife and his children. So has it all been worth it? The only person that can answer that is Tommy Robinson. The one thing that you can say is, when he does come out of jail, what's going to be next for him? What direction is he going to go in? Is he willing to sacrifice and potentially lose more? Because he's going to have to rebuild at the end of the day. Because the country is changing to a degree, because more and more people are going on to platforms, you know, whether it's YouTube or TikTok and all these different types of platforms, more and more getting onto them to give their views and to be able to support the likes of people like Tommy Robinson at the end of the day. You know, because you've got the people like Katie Hopkins. Now, I like Katie Hopkins. No, personally, I do. So I would say that for him, things could potentially get better for him, because more and more people are coming out to support him, because the days of people, everybody thinking that he's a racist, them days are done. So if the political elite want to challenge him and take him on, it's going to start getting harder and harder, because the pushback's going to get harder and harder. You know, I remember when he was in jail, whether you want to say it's falsely or not, and you had the mass demonstrations. I remember them mass demonstrations, and they managed to get him out. You know, so for him, it will be interesting when he does eventually get out. I think it will be. And I think if the political elite are going to try and take him on, they're going to have to come up with something better than to try and claim that he's a racist. Because unfortunately, I've never, ever seen any evidence to back it up. I've seen evidence for him to be able to back it up, where if you take, for instance, certain cities, they've been willing to support and back certain communities against, and I am going to be potentially, some people are going to say I'm being racist here, against white British communities. There's evidence of that up and down the country. You know, I've got no problem with people from any ethnicity. I don't care where they come from. So we will see in due course. So I do wish him good luck for when he does come out eventually. And we'll see how he gets on. But if somebody can actually show me how he's racist. I'd love to see that. Because so far, I've looked on YouTube, I've looked on Twitter, I've looked on TikTok, I've watched his interviews that he's given. You know, like I said, I've sat through the entire Oxford Union address, and I've never seen a single thing that I could categorically say is racist. The only problem that I see, and this is one thing I don't like, is in today's day and age is what is racist. And the definition has become, and this is what really irritates me about today's day and age is, if one person considers it as racist, it is racist. There is no actual physical definition of what racism actually is. So somebody, even if it's in the comments below, explain that to me. I would love you to explain it to me. But for now, thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you again a bit later.